Have you ever looked at where you are and felt like you're running in circles, pushing hard, doing everything you can, but still you're stuck? Like no matter how much you give, it's never enough. Maybe you've felt like the world is watching, waiting for you to fall, or worse, waiting for you to give up. But what if I told you, this moment right now, the one filled with doubt and fatigue, is the exact moment your breakthrough is born? You see, there's something powerful that happens when you hit that wall. That wall doesn't mean stop. It doesn't mean surrender. It's not there to block you. It's there to test you, to see how bad you really want it. Because if the path was easy, everyone would take it. But the truth is, it's the struggle that shapes the strength. And strength isn't given, it's earned day after day in the moments when quitting feels easier than standing tall. And I get it. You've got responsibilities, expectations, pressure from all sides. You're trying to build something, maybe for your family, maybe for your future, maybe to finally silence the noise inside your head telling you you're not enough. But here's the truth. None of that matters more than what you choose to believe about yourself. Not the voices around you, not the opinions that float through your feed. What matters is the voice inside, the one you train to say, get up, keep going, one more step. There will be times when your dream feels like a distant memory, when life throws setbacks that shake you to your core. You'll face people who doubt you, doors that slam shut, and situations that make you question your purpose. But here's the thing about purpose. It's not found in comfort, it's found in pain, in pressure, in persistence. And every time you rise from a setback, you're not just bouncing back, you're leveling up. You have to stop waiting for the perfect moment. That moment will never come. The stars will never fully align. And if you're waiting until you're ready, you'll be waiting forever. Readiness is a myth. The only way to be ready is to begin. Right now, with what you have, where you are. No one starts with everything, but those who keep going, even when they have nothing, they build something that can't be taken away. I'm not here to tell you it's going to be easy. I'm telling you it's going to be worth it. Every early morning, every late night, every sacrifice you made when no one was watching, all of it adds up. All of it matters. You might not see the reward today or tomorrow, but every step forward counts, even the smallest ones, even the ones where you're crawling just to stay in the game. Some people look at the mountain and stop, but not you. You're here because there's a fire in your chest that refuses to go out. You might not have all the answers. You might feel fear. You might doubt yourself more often than not, but you keep showing up. That's courage. That's power. That's how legacies are built. Not in one moment of glory, but in the decision to keep rising after every fall. There's a version of you that's waiting on the other side of this season, stronger, wiser, more focused, more fearless. But you don't meet that version by staying where it's safe. You meet them by walking through the storm, by embracing the grind, by showing life that you're not afraid to take the hit, because you will rise again. They said you couldn't. They said you wouldn't. And maybe part of you started to believe it. But deep down, there's another voice, the one whispering, I'm not done. That voice is the truth. That voice is the reason you're still here, the reason you've made it this far, even when every reason told you to give up. So what now? Now you build, now you push, not because you have to prove something to the world, but because you owe it to yourself to see what happens when you give it everything. Not half your heart, not a quarter of your focus, but all of you. Every drop of belief, every piece of effort, every ounce of fight. You weren't made to coast, you were made to climb. You were built to rise. So when it hurts, keep going. When it's dark, keep walking. When no one claps, keep working. This is your story. And no one else gets to write the ending but you. It doesn't matter where you started. What matters is where you go from here. You could have had the hardest past. You could have been counted out since day one. But right now you have a choice to let the past define you or to use it as fuel. Every scar is proof you survived. Every setback is a setup for your next chapter. The next time doubt creeps in, remember this, diamonds are made under pressure. Storms don't last forever. And what you're walking through now is preparing you for what you asked for. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in the stretch, the strain, the climb. And you're climbing for something bigger than yourself. Let them talk. Let them doubt. Let the silence surround you. Because in that silence, you'll find clarity. You'll find your reason. You'll find your why. And when your why becomes bigger than your fear, you become unstoppable. And now that you're standing in the middle of your journey, maybe exhausted, maybe uncertain, you need to know this. Momentum is not about speed. It's about direction. Even if you're moving slowly, even if it feels like progress is invisible, as long as you're facing forward, you're growing. You are not who you were yesterday, and that's enough to keep going. It's easy to believe that success is this massive leap, one grand action that changes everything, but it's not. It's the small decisions, the quiet ones, the ones where no one's looking. When you choose to wake up a little earlier, when you put in effort even when your body screams for rest, when you say yes to discipline and no to distractions, those are the moments that define your life. People don't talk about the silent victories, but they matter. The times you held yourself together, the nights you wanted to quit but stayed anyway, the days you didn't feel like enough but chose to show up. You may not get applause for those battles, but they are what shape champions. Because it's not the world's validation that makes you worthy. It's the quiet commitment to becoming better day after day. And you've got that in you. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. You wouldn't be searching for growth, hungry for change, if something inside you wasn't begging to break free from the cage of limitation. You are not stuck, you are becoming. This season, this chapter, it's part of the process. In the process, it's messy, it's tiring, but it's necessary. Stop comparing your path to someone else's. You're not late. You're not behind, you're on a different mission. What's growing inside you is unique, and it's not meant to bloom on someone else's schedule. So stop watching the clock, start trusting the work. Every seed takes time to break the surface, and you're planting roots deeper than most, because what you're building is meant to last. You might feel invisible right now, like the world's moving without you, but don't confuse silence for failure. This is your training ground, your preparation, because when your moment comes, and it will come, you'll be ready, not because of luck, but because of the grind you put in when no one saw it, the hours you pushed when no one cheered, the tears you shed in private just to rise stronger in public. There's a reason why pressure builds diamonds, why storms carve landscapes, because transformation requires resistance. Without it, there's no edge, no depth, no power. The pressure you feel, it's shaping you. The struggle you're in, it's giving you layers, perspective, strength that goes beyond surface level motivation, strength that anchors you when life tries to pull you apart. And yes, there will be challenges that make you question everything, moments that break your heart, people who let you down, plans that fall apart when you needed them to hold. But don't mistake the pain for punishment. Sometimes it's protection. Sometimes the detour is the path, and sometimes the breakdown is the doorway to the breakthrough. You weren't made to be ordinary. You weren't designed for average. That's why average feels uncomfortable. That's why your soul aches when you settle. You've got a calling bigger than comfort, a fire that won't let you sleep through life. And that fire, it's your reminder. You're not done. You're not finished. This is just the middle of the chapter. And the middle, it's the part where most people quit, but not you. You're gonna rise. Not perfectly, not without pain, but with purpose, with persistence, with grit. And as you rise, something beautiful begins to happen. Your mindset shifts. You stop needing everything to go right. You start learning how to make progress even when everything feels wrong. You realize that success is not about avoiding failure. It's about walking through it and not letting it break you. It's about using failure as feedback. Pain is power and struggle is fuel. That's when your mindset becomes your greatest weapon. That's when you become unstoppable. Not because life is easy, but because you've learned how to lead yourself through the hard parts. And once you lead yourself, you begin to inspire others. Not by shouting from a stage, but by living your truth. By becoming the example. You become the one people look at and say, if they can rise, so can I. That's real impact. That's legacy. That's why the fight matters. So when the doubt creeps in, when the weight feels unbearable, remind yourself, every step is one closer. You may not see the finish line yet, but it's there, waiting. And the person you're becoming along the way, that's the real prize. No one else can walk this path for you. No one else can make the choice to keep going. But the good news, you don't need them to. You already have what it takes. You've already survived the days you thought would break you. You've already come further than you give yourself credit for, and the road ahead, it's yours to shape. One decision, one action, one belief at a time. There's gonna come a moment when everything clicks. When all the late nights, the heartbreaks, the setbacks, they won't just make sense, they'll become sacred. you'll see how every no led to the right yes, how every delay was divine, and how every breakdown built the foundation for something greater. But until then, keep building, keep moving, keep showing up like the best version of you is already here, because they are. You're not chasing them, you're uncovering them. Layer by layer, step by step, with every ounce of fight you give, you're getting closer, closer to the life you were meant to live, closer to the peace, the strength, the confidence, the freedom that's already waiting for you. You've made it this far, and that's not by accident. That's not luck. That's not coincidence. That's proof that there's something inside you stronger than every excuse, every fear, every setback. And yet, even with all that strength, there will still be days when you feel it slipping. Days when your vision blurs and your belief starts to fade. That's when the real test begins. Because motivation doesn't always show up. Some days it won't be there to push you. It won't whisper in your ear or light your fire. On those days, you have to move without it. You have to act without the feeling. Because champions aren't built on feelings. They're built on discipline, on doing the work even when the spark is gone. That's when you separate yourself from your old habits, from your doubts, from every version of you that tried to quit before. Discipline is what carries you when passion fades. It's what holds you steady when emotions try to shake you. The truth is, every meaningful goal will require effort that feels unfair. It will ask you to give more than you thought you had. It will challenge every weakness, expose every insecurity, but that's the point. You're not meant to stay the same. You're meant to evolve, to shed the skin of who you were and grow into who you were meant to become. And that growth, it's not easy, it's uncomfortable, it's painful, it's slow, it's real. You start to see it not in what you gain, but in what you let go of. You stop needing validation. You stop explaining your vision to people who can't see it. You stop apologizing for dreaming bigger than your surroundings, because you realize this is your life and you only get one shot at it, so take it, even if it scares you, especially if it scares you. Fear isn't the enemy. It's the signal. It tells you where the edge is, and the edge, that's where growth lives. That's where you meet the next level of yourself. Not by playing safe, but by choosing courage over comfort, by stepping into the unknown and trusting that your strength will meet you there. And yes, you will be stretched. You will be pulled in ways you never imagined. But you'll also discover things about yourself you never knew were there. Resilience, patience, determination. Those don't come from easy days. They're earned in the struggle. And the more you struggle with purpose, the stronger your purpose becomes. It's not about being fearless. It's about acting while afraid. It's about showing up when you feel unqualified. It's about taking the next step, even when the road ahead is foggy. Because sometimes the breakthrough comes only after the breakdown. And you've got to be willing to walk through the storm to get to the other side. Don't let perfection paralyze you. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need a flawless plan. What you need is action. Messy, bold, uncomfortable action. Because clarity comes through motion. Confidence comes through repetition. And greatness is forged in consistency. Not in what you do once, but in what you do every single day. The way forward won't always feel fair. Some people will have more resources, more support, more opportunities. But if you're waiting for things to be fair before you move, you'll be stuck forever. Life doesn't reward fairness. It rewards resilience. It rewards those who show up no matter what. Those who don't wait for a break but become the break. And that can be you. That is you. So stop waiting for someone to come and give you permission. Stop looking for a sign to chase what's already in your heart. If you're waiting for the world to believe in you first, you're going to miss your moment. The belief has to start with you, with the way you talk to yourself, the way you carry yourself, the way you move, even when no one's watching. You have to believe in the unseen, in the version of you that's not fully formed yet, in the results you haven't touched but are working toward every day. Faith is what fills the gap between who you are and who you're becoming. Faith is what keeps you building when the foundation still looks like dust. It's what keeps you swinging when the scoreboard says you're behind. And make no mistake, the scoreboard doesn't define you. Results don't define you. Effort does. Heart does. The refusal to back down when things get hard, that's what defines a winner. And you've already proven you can survive. Now it's time to thrive. Now it's time to stop playing small with your potential and start walking in your power. There's something on the other side of your obedience, something waiting for you beyond this season. But you'll never reach it if you keep shrinking to fit into places you've outgrown. You weren't meant to fit. You were meant to stand out, to lead, to rise, to blaze a trail that others will one day follow. But before they follow you, you've got to lead yourself. And leading yourself starts with one choice. Not tomorrow, not next week, today, right now. Because this moment, it matters. Every action you take compounds. Every decision you make echoes. And eventually those echoes build momentum. That momentum becomes identity. And that identity, that's how you change your life. You might not be where you want to be yet, but you're not where you used to be. That's progress. That's momentum. And the more you honor it, the faster you grow. So honor your process. Respect your journey. Stop rushing the result and start trusting the roots you're planting, because strong roots grow slowly, but they grow deep. And deep roots, they weather any storm. They hold firm when others fall. That's what you're building, not just success, but sustainability. A foundation that won't crumble when life gets chaotic, and life will get chaotic. But when it does, you'll stand strong, not because you never wavered, but because you never quit. There's a moment in every journey where the silence gets loud, where the doubts creep in like shadows, where your mind starts questioning why you started in the first place. And it's in that moment you must decide, will you let the silence stop you, or will you learn to speak louder with your actions? Because actions don't lie. They tell the story of what you really believe. You can say you want change, but if your actions don't back it up, the world won't either. And the world doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to persistence, to movement, to people who show up again and again, even when they're tired, even when they're unsure, even when they're scared. And fear, it will always try to sit in the front seat of your life, but you don't have to let it drive. You don't have to let it steer your future. Let it be there. Let it ride along if it must, but don't hand it the wheel. Because every time you let fear lead, you delay the breakthrough that's already on its way to you. You don't need to have all the answers to take the next step. You don't need to have the map laid out from beginning to end. You just need to trust the process. Trust that every step you take is either taking you closer to your goal or teaching you something that will. There is no wasted effort, no pointless pain, not if you choose to learn from it, and that's what separates those who finish strong from those who fold. It's not talent, it's not opportunity, it's the willingness to learn through the struggle, to grow through the pain, to turn every setback into fuel. That's where real power lives. Not in perfection, but in the ability to rise after the fall. Because you will fall. Everyone does. But falling is not failure. Staying down is. And you're not built to stay down. You're built to rise, to recalibrate, to come back stronger every single time. And every time you do that, you build resilience. You build character. You become the kind of person who doesn't just chase goals, you embodies the greatness it takes to reach them. You see, the journey isn't just about reaching the destination. It's about becoming the person who can handle what's waiting at the top. And becoming that person, that takes endurance. That takes ownership. That takes honesty. You've got to look at yourself and be willing to call out the habits that are holding you back. Be willing to cut off the comfort that's keeping you stuck. Be willing to say, this isn't who I'm meant to be, and then do something about it. No one's coming to save you, but that's not a curse, it's a blessing, because it means you hold the power. You hold the pen. You get to write the story from here, not the world, not your past, you. And that pen can change everything. It can rewrite every narrative that's told you you're not good enough, not smart enough, not strong enough. Because those stories, they're not facts, they're echoes. And you get to silence them with truth. The truth is, you're capable of more than you know. You've only scratched the surface of what's possible for you. And every time you doubt yourself, remind yourself, you've made it through worse. You've faced storms that should have broken you, but they didn't. You're still here, still fighting, still reaching. That matters, that means something. And now it's time to level up. Not just with your goals, but with your standards, with the way you treat yourself, with the way you speak to yourself. No more small thinking. No more shrinking to fit into spaces that don't honor your potential. You are not average. You were not made to blend in. You were born to break limits, to push boundaries, to rise so boldly that even your past doesn't recognize you anymore. But that doesn't happen by chance, it happens by choice. Every single day you get to choose. Will you keep repeating the patterns that kept you stuck, or will you make the hard choice to grow? Will you give in to distractions, or will you lock in on your purpose like your life depends on it? Because it does. Because what you choose today doesn't just shape your future, it becomes your future. And it's not just about what you do for you, it's about what your growth does for others. You don't even realize how many lives your decision to rise could impact. You don't know who's watching you, silently hoping that your breakthrough becomes their permission, that your strength gives them strength, that your fire lights their way. And that's powerful, that's legacy. So you've got to keep going, not just for you, but for every version of you that prayed for the strength you have now. For the person you used to be, the one who was lost, afraid, tired, and still got up anyway. You owe it to them to keep pushing, to keep fighting, to make this season count. And don't you dare let your current situation convince you it's permanent. You are not stuck. You're in a chapter, not the whole book. This moment doesn't define you. How you respond to it does. And if you decide right now that you will not be defeated, that you will keep climbing no matter how steep the hill, then you've already won half the battle. Because every victory starts in the mind. Every comeback starts with belief. And belief is not about ignoring reality, it's about facing it and choosing to rise anyway. It's about holding on to the vision, even when the results haven't shown up yet. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you dangerous to every excuse that's tried to hold you down. So take a breath, stand tall, and remind yourself that you're not here to coast. You're here to conquer. Not here to blend in, you're here to break through. And that breakthrough is closer than you think, closer than ever, but only if you keep going, only if you keep fighting. Only if you refuse to quit when it's easy to stay the same. The fire inside you, it's still burning. Maybe quietly, maybe dim, but it's there. And every step forward feeds that fire. Every ounce of courage fans the flame. That fire inside you, it's waiting. Waiting for you to stop playing small. Waiting for you to stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. Waiting for you to realize that no one else is coming to tell you you're ready. Because you are. You've always been. The world doesn't get to decide your timing, you do. And no, it won't be easy. Nothing great ever is. You will be tested. You will be stretched past what you thought were your limits. But pressure is not your enemy. It's your proving ground. It's where diamonds are made. It's where your courage gets forged. Your grit gets sharpened. Your voice gets stronger. You weren't meant to break under pressure. You were made to rise through it. Every obstacle, every delay, every disappointment, it's not the end. It's the beginning of a better you. It's the part of the story that turns pain into power, that transforms setbacks into fuel. And the more life tries to hold you down, the higher you learn to climb. That climb, it's where champions are built. Not on smooth roads, but on jagged cliffs where every step is a choice and every choice costs you something. And that cost, it's worth it. Because the version of you that's waiting on the other side, they're unshakable, unbreakable. That version of you doesn't back down from discomfort. They welcome it because they know comfort never changed a life. Growth always begins where comfort ends. And you're not here to settle. You're here to elevate. And the higher you go, the more you'll be asked to let go of old stories, old excuses, old limitations. You can't carry all of that into the next level. There's no room for who you were when you're becoming who you're meant to be. It's time to release the lies, the fear, the shame, the doubt. They don't belong to you anymore. They never did. You were born for more. And deep down, you know that. That quiet voice that keeps whispering that you're made for something greater, that's your truth. That's your reminder. And that voice will always be there, but you've got to choose to listen. Choose to trust it more than the noise around you, more than the opinions, more than the failures, more than the fear. Fear may scream, doubt may shout, but truth whispers. And you've got to get still enough to hear it, to hear the part of you that says, keep going, don't give up. You're almost there, because you are, closer than you think. Every sacrifice, every sleepless night, every hard decision, it's building something. You might not see it yet, but the roots are growing. The foundation is setting. And when it hits, it'll feel like it came out of nowhere. But you'll know it didn't. You'll know it came from every single moment you chose faith over fear. Every time you chose to show up when you wanted to walk away. That's what builds momentum. And once you've got momentum, you become unstoppable. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait to feel ready. Just start with what you have from where you are and keep showing up. Because success doesn't come to the most talented. It comes to the most relentless. The ones who are willing to fall and rise 1,000 times. The ones who stop negotiating with their potential, who decide once and for all that they will not be denied. And if you feel like you've been waiting forever, maybe you're not waiting anymore. Maybe this is it. The moment you stop waiting and start walking, start building, start choosing the life you were born to live. Because every second you wait is a second you could have been becoming. No more wasting time, no more pretending you're not ready. Look at what you've already survived. Look at what you've already overcome. You've faced pain, heartbreak, betrayal, and loss, and you're still here. That means you're undefeated. That means you're already winning. But now it's time to win on purpose. Time to stop surviving and start thriving. To stop reacting and start creating. No more living by default. This is your time to design. Your time to lead. And leadership starts with leading yourself. Leading your mind, your choices, your energy. It's a daily decision, a moment by moment promise to yourself that you will rise. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You just need belief. And belief isn't passive, it's active. It's built with every step you take. Every day you wake up and do the work, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because if you can keep moving through resistance, then you can move through anything. And resistance will always be there. It's part of the process. It's not there to stop you, it's there to strengthen you. To remind you that you're growing, that you're not the same person who started this journey. And the more resistance you face, the closer you are to the breakthrough, to the moment when everything shifts, everything clicks, everything falls into place. But that moment only comes to those who stay in the fight, who refuse to let life dictate their value, who walk into the fire and come out refined, not burned. You are that kind of person. You wouldn't still be here if you weren't. You wouldn't still be pushing, reaching, believing if there wasn't something in you the world needs to see. So let it out. Let the world feel the force of your full potential. Stop shrinking, stop hiding. This isn't the season for fear. It's the season for courage. And courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's a whisper. Sometimes it's one small action that no one sees. But it adds up, and eventually it becomes undeniable. You become undeniable. That's what you're building right now, quietly, relentlessly, day by day, step by step. You're becoming the person who doesn't just dream, it delivers. Who doesn't just talk about what's possible, they become what's possible. And this isn't the end of your story, it's the turning point. The moment where everything begins to shift, not because the world changed, but because you did. Because you finally stopped waiting to be ready. You finally stopped asking for permission. You finally realized that the power has been in your hands all along. And now you stand on the edge of everything you've ever wanted. It's not far. It's not a dream anymore. It's within reach. You can feel it, that shift, that deep inner knowing that something is changing inside you. This isn't just another speech, another message. This is a decision, one you make right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, because tomorrow has no guarantees. All you have is now. And now is more than enough. Now holds everything. Now holds the power to take the first step to rewrite the story, to break the chain, to silence every doubt that ever told you to quit. It starts now, not because conditions are perfect, but because your mindset is ready. Because something in your soul has awakened and it refuses to go back to sleep. You've waited long enough. You've dreamed long enough. Now it's time to move, to act, to build, because dreams without action will turn to dust. But action, even when it's messy, even when it's uncertain, that's what creates change. That's what makes impossible things real. You don't need to be fearless, you just need to be willing to face the unknown, willing to look fear in the eye and move anyway. Willing to keep going even if you can only see the next single step, because sometimes that's all you need. One step, then another, and another, until what once felt impossible becomes your new normal. And this next version of you, the one that's bold, driven, unstoppable, it's not a fantasy, it's you minus the limits, minus the hesitation, minus the fear that's been taking up space in your head for too long. The truth is, that power's been there the whole time, hidden under layers of doubt, smothered under the noise of the world. But now it's breaking through. You feel it, and once that power wakes up, there's no turning back. So let the world underestimate you. Let them doubt. Let them question your timing, your path, your passion. It doesn't matter. Their doubt is not your problem. Their disbelief is not your burden. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to become undeniable. And that kind of greatness doesn't wait for applause, it creates it. You don't chase validation when you know your vision. You don't slow down to explain yourself when you're busy building something legendary. So build. Build a life, the strength, the mindset that no one can take from you. Build it in silence, build it in motion, build it with fire in your heart and focus in your soul. And when the challenges rise, because they will, don't fold. You've come too far. You've fought too hard. And this version of you, the one who refuses to quit, the one who shows up when it's hard, the one who dares to believe even when the odds look impossible, that version is the real you. The unshaken, unafraid, unbroken you. It's time to live like it. No more waiting for approval. No more playing small. You're not here for average. You're not here for comfort. You're here to rise. And if that scares you, good. It means you're growing. It means you're stepping into a space where real change happens. And growth may be painful, but nothing is more painful than staying stuck where you don't belong. This is not about ego, this is about purpose. And your purpose is louder than your past, bigger than your pain, stronger than your excuses. You weren't created to merely survive, you were born to impact, to build, to lead, to become something so solid within yourself that nothing on the outside can shake you. So what now? Now you begin. Right here, right now. No excuses, no delays. You move forward with full force, full fire, full ownership, because nothing changes until you do. And the second you commit, really commit, that's when everything starts to shift. That's when people notice. That's when doors open. That's when your life starts catching up with your vision. But you have to go all in. Half effort will never bring full results. Stop dipping your toe in the water. Dive, commit, trust. Do the hard things, do the boring things, do the things no one else is willing to do, because that's what separates the great from the good. That's what turns hunger into harvest. And you're ready. You're ready to lead yourself even when no one's watching. You're ready to climb even when no one cheers you on. You're ready to evolve into the kind of person who doesn't flinch at resistance, who doesn't crumble under pressure, who doesn't fold when things get heavy. Because strength isn't built when everything is easy. It's built in the shadows, in the struggle, in the silence, when no one sees you grinding, but you keep going anyway. That's where champions are formed. And you're not just a dreamer anymore. You're a builder, a doer, a finisher. So don't stop now. This isn't where it ends. This is where it all begins. You've got what it takes. You always have. Now go prove it.